Welcome to No Notes.
I'm Colby.
And I'm Alex.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. So you had a bit of a busy weekend last weekend.
Yes, I just got back from LA Pride.
How was it?
Tiring.
How does it compare to the previous year when I went? Because that's all that matters, really.
Yes, and of course your absence was noted.
Aw.
But I had looked forward to going back to the Glamcox party. So Glamcox is a burner group, right? And they...
So you had tickets to two events the same night, Glamcox and what was the other party?
Yes, so GPS, which is a famous, not famous, but they're a pretty notable circuit party promoter group. They're the ones that did the Palm Springs Pride. Yeah. They ended up throwing a party on the calendar much later than the Glamcox one. And it had Alex Acosta, which is, a DJ that I love.
Great DJ, yeah.
Great DJ. And I was like, yeah, well, I'd done the Glamcox party last year. We're going to do that, but let's do this other party first. So we got tickets to that. Well, GPS party sucked.
I knew that was going to happen. I knew it, yeah.
So...
What time did you get to the GPS party?
Yeah, well, so that was one thing. Traffic was a nightmare.
In LA? I've never heard that.
And... so far away because they changed the venue. 3 days before, they sent us an email where they changed the venue.
See, this is I was telling Ty, our friend, I never ever have been drunk in LA and thought, LA is so cute. I could live here. It's not. It's ugly. It's spread out.
Yep.
It's the land of strip mall.
Yep.
That's what it is.
All I needed was this car ride to the club to know that I would not live in LA.
Yeah.
It was a 45-minute car ride to this first party.
They're probably
$160 Uber. $160.
God.
No. So we get there. I knew it was problematic as soon as we walked in because they had food trucks. And I was like, okay, no serious gay party has food trucks because no one's eating.
I know.
But so I knew that was going to be problematic. Semi in our group, he went straight for the food trucks.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And the crowd there were a lot of women there. I would say.
What time did you roll up to the party?
Yeah, GPS? It was later than we wanted to be there. I
wonder why.
Yeah, I think it was close to 10:30 or 11 when we got there. Bad. It wasn't bad, but a lot of women there, which is fine, but it's not really probably the party that we're looking for.
Yeah, the vibe was different than you.
Yeah, and the music immediately was not good. And then it occurred to me, okay, Alex Acosta is probably the headliner for this. Yeah. And he's probably not coming on till 2 or 3 a.m. anyway. And both of the parties ended at 5-ish or so. So we're not going to stay for that. So we were literally there for maybe 45 minutes. Yeah. And I was like, guys, we got to get out of here. Yeah. We're wasting time. The other party is so much better.
And if you wait past midnight to get to the other one, the line is going to be really, really long. And you're going to miss huge swaths of it.
Yeah. So as soon as we got to the Glamcox party, which, as I was saying, I've spent all year thinking about that party last year just because it was so much fun.
Was it at the same venue?
Same venue, which is why I wanted to go because this venue is Catch One in LA.
For the viewers that have never been to Catch One, it is a maze of a warehouse. There are multiple levels, multiple giant dance floors. You keep finding new rooms throughout the night.
Totally. And weirdly, the music doesn't bleed over from room to room, which I don't understand. But from the outside, it just looks like this big black box. And really crazy venue. I've been looking forward to it. As soon as we got there, I knew that it was going to be an amazing party. The lines were huge and everyone was, styled out for Pride and just stunning looking. So I knew it was going to be a really fun time. And once we got inside, I could see it on everyone's face because they had some distrust in me after the first party. Because this was a lot of people's, I guess everyone in the group, their first LA Pride, but some of them, their first trip to LA. Yeah. And they just, I had been talking this up for quite some time and they were very disappointed by the first party, but you could see the relief on everyone's face when we got upstairs to that one big disco room.
Yeah, the big premiere event. Yeah.
Yeah, surprisingly though, that was not the best room this time.
Was it the basement one?
The basement one. Yeah, they had this DJ that was just absolutely crushing it. His light setup.
What was his name?
It was Matt Suave.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah. So you posted a the story and I clicked and I was like, this guy's kind of cute for a DJ.
No, he was cute and yeah, crushed it. You could just tell he really understood what the boys were looking for.
Yeah.
The vibes were
He
on
was
point.
gay. The DJ was gay.
He's
so
gay.
yeah.
He played a Beyonce remix that was just insane and everyone was losing their mind over it. But the party was incredible. The boys were as hot or hotter than last year.
So what celebrities? That's who I'm dying to know. What celebrities did you see at this party?
So to be fair, I wasn't paying as much attention to the crowd as I think I was last year.
Doubt it.
No, I definitely wasn't.
You love playing human Pokemon with celebrities
So
and Instagays.
I felt like, you know how someone in the group always has to be mother hen?
Yes.
And usually that's like you or Larry or someone.
Yes, but because it's everyone's first time, you played
I was
that role.
mother hen. Yes.
Did you have a horrible time?
I was just parenting the whole time.
Oh no.
Because
that's bad.
everyone was significantly more fucked up than I was. And so because I was having to be like the guardian of the group, I was more focused on keeping everyone together and safe and all that rather than like the crowd.
So going back to my original. So what are the top, or were there any celebrities that you saw that you noted?
The only celebrity per se, other than like a few porn stars, was the guy from Glamorous.
Who's super cute.
I now have forgotten his name already. Graham something. Graham Parkhurst.
Yeah,
Park
that
something.
sounds. Yeah, the white guy who was dating himself by the end of the season.
And I have to tell you, he was not with anyone that looks like Miss Benny. So
I am shocked. A white fitness gay with other white fitness gays.
Yes, he is shorter than I would have thought, but I guess that makes sense.
Yeah,
but he looked pretty accurate to how he does on the show, so that was
chipmunk
nice.
cheeks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, saw lots of porn stars though, which that's not surprising. You would be shocked that I was the first to leave. So I dipped out of the party
4 or 5 a.m.
No, 3:30.
I would have been proud. I would have been giving you the eyes like, let's go. Good. I'm proud of you. That's growth, mama.
Yeah. So again, WeHo was a great time. The boys were already talking about doing it again next year. So if we do, you're not going to be able to skip this next year.
I don't know. No promises, baby.
So something happened in LA though that we have to talk about.
Oh no. Am I going to be really mad?
No.
Scared?
Maybe.
Okay.
So life is weird sometimes and the universe just speaks to you.
Okay.
And we were out shopping for another shirt for one of the guys in our group to wear. Cause you know, every time we go out to these big parties, we do like a group theme.
Yeah.
I don't think he was happy with what he had.
Oh my God. Ty changed his shirt. He didn't wear the one I made him.
No. Different Ty. Different Ty. He brought a shirt and wanted some other options.
Oh, okay,
so we went out looking at a thrift store for some other options for him. Well, the thrift store had a home goods store next to it. Like their home area was a different store.
Okay, but it was also vintage home goods?
Yeah, thrift home.
Okay, wow.
Yeah. And I was just bored and something was like, you should go check out this store. And I did while I was waiting on them. And I got pulled back to this like random corner of the store. And I was staring at the shelf and I saw this item and I was like, Alex has to have this. So.
Oh God. What is this?
2 episodes ago, we talked about television that made us queer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you told me this really cute story about how you were always obsessed with the pink Power Ranger, but you had to like the blue one because your brothers thought that was like being a sissy.
Right.
So staring at me on the shelf was this hand like sort of knit box of the blue Power Ranger.
Cute. Let me see. Oh my God.
Someone's grandmother like made this for them.
Oh my God. Why? I don't know, but this is so adorable.
And I really wish it had been the pink Power Ranger.
Yeah,
but
no, I'll take this one because he's actually gay.
But this is such a reference to what we were just talking about. And I don't know, I fell in love with it.
I feel like I'm always there, present, even when I'm not. So
I think you could stash like a little photo of me in it, you know?
Can you open? Let's see.
Yeah, it opens.
Oh my God. I want to get married in this. This is so freaking adorable. Oh, thank you, Mama.
Yeah,
this
no,
is cute.
I just thought it was crazy how we had just come off talking about this.
So cute.
And then this item was just sitting there. And I was like, man.
How much was it?
It was $1. But because you didn't come on this trip, it felt a little bit of like you were with me.
I'm like gonorrhea. Well, should we get to the next section?
Yes, let's do tops and bottoms. We haven't done that in a while, and I feel like both of us could use a good topping. So let's flip a coin and see which one of us gets. I want to do. I'll do heads for tops.
Yeah. So for the new folks, we flip a coin to decide which one of us will talk about a top and aka a highlight of the week, and the other will discuss a bottom or something bad that happened that week. So you want to do top
head for tops.
Heads. All right. I'll flip this.
Is that heads?
It's heads.
Yay. Do you want to do your bottom first?
Sure.
Or do you want me to go first?
Go first.
Okay. My top of the week is that the Pope cannot stop saying faggot.
So
it's now the second time.
Yeah.
The first time was a bottom, but now that he said it twice, it's a top.
Yeah, it's funny that he said it again after being reprimanded.
Yeah, and the word he's saying, just for clarification, is not actually faggot. It's some Italian word that basically is the...
Fagattoni.
Yeah, it's some comparable of like sissy, pansy. It's the same kind of derogatory slur.
I want to know who's the one speaking up? Is there recording? Like, why? How does this keep coming up?
I don't know,
what
but apparently in his latest comment, he said that there was a thin air of... basically faggotry in the Catholic Church, and I was like, well,
true.
Yeah.
Like, have you?
True queen.
Yeah.
Thanks for spilling, Mama.
Thanks for speaking.
But I was gonna ask you, would you like being called a faggot by the Pope?
I think that's like a blessing, right?
I think so too. I think it's like a new Hail Mary.
Yeah, I think that once the Pope calls you faggot is like the moment you become a patron saint of the gays.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Like, that's when you can be like, okay, I guess I'll listen to Charlie.
That should be a goal of ours for the next Pride.
Get called faggot by the Pope.
Let's go to Rome and be as outlandishly queer as we can.
Yeah.
And see if we can get called faggots by the Pope.
We have to wear long skirts that cover our ankles, right? To get in.
Yeah.
So we'll do that. I mean, that's like a cute trip next year.
Yeah. So Italy it is. What's your bottom?
So my bottom of the week is Netflix's Pride section.
Oh.
So this is like, as of the recording, there is no actual Pride section on Netflix this year with current of the year stuff. So like HBO has We're Here, which is a new queer season with drag queens. They have the Lady Gaga concert. They have Fantasmas. They have like a great selection of LGBT entertainment. And Netflix hasn't come out with anything this year. Like last year they had Glamorous. They had some documentaries, but nothing. We're getting nothing, Mama. And Netflix sucks.
Yeah, the Netflix is also calling us faggots.
Yeah, and like it goes back to the point, like when we were talking about a couple weeks ago, that there's like 36% less queer characters coming back because like either the season got canceled or anything. Like this is like what we're seeing. Like, fuck Netflix.
Well,
fuck them.
I mean, for the longest time, people have complained about the rainbow capitalism and that it just being like a profit machine and companies not caring about queer folks.
And this is showing like they don't care.
Well, they don't care, but it's also like I would prefer some visibility rather than none. So like it's not great that in this, divided time where, we're facing assaults from all over the place, that companies are not taking a stand for us.
And it gets me like really mad that when they probably made this decision not to have like an LGBT section this year because it's not profitable. And so,
they don't want the backlash probably.
And they don't want the backlash, but like, they're like, okay, like we're again putting our profits before any sort of morality. Like never leave it to a fucking business to like help you out in any sense. Like,
yeah.
Fuck them.
Well, we'll have to find a new streaming service for Netflix and chill moments.
HBO Max, baby. They got it.
Yeah. It doesn't have quite the same ring to it. Maybe more like Hulu and chill, but we'll figure it out.
Max and Facts. That's Facts.
Max and Eat Ass. I don't know.
Oh, that's a good one.
Something along those lines.
HB and Be a Hoe. HB Ho.
Paramount Me.
And then Peacock, I mean, I don't.
Yeah,
the jokes write themselves. Yeah. Okay, so about 6 months ago, we prophesized that this year would be the year of himbo pop music. And I was getting kind of scared because
it's been dry.
She's been so dry. If I have to hear another mid-tempo song about this chick getting broken up by some guy with brown hair, like I'm going to kill myself. Like I do not want these slow pop songs. Honestly, the worst thing about capitalism is that they force pop stars to be in the mold of someone else. Every studio wants their artists to sound like Taylor Swift. And so Ariana's been pumping out these mid-tempo boring songs.
Yeah, I thought we were going to get it with Ariana.
And she lied.
Yeah.
She lied. Yes, and more like yes and some sleep, because that's what she was bringing. Casey, boring.
Yeah.
Dua, irrelevant.
Yeah.
Cowboy Carter, which I liked, wasn't very, it's not pop. Like there are moments of it, but by definition, she was playing with genre. I want himbo pop. And it wasn't happening until...
Himbo or bimbo? What's the difference?
Himbo is the male version of bimbo. Right?
Yeah, I guess.
But I wanted himbo. Well, it doesn't matter. Imbo pop music.
Yes.
And we weren't getting it until now. What's changed?
Yeah, we have all this new music dropping all over the place.
And great music dropping.
Yeah, and the one that you have long championed, Chappell Roan.
Yeah, so the way I found Chappell is like how I found all my artists. Spotify releases the weekly release radar, so I get to listen on Friday mornings, which I fucking love. I go to the gym, I play my release radar, and if I like a song, I add it to my playlist. So I have 4 playlists every year: summer, winter, spring, whatever. And then whatever that song falls, I just like categorize it that way. And I still remember Pink Pony Club, and that one was spring of 2020. And it, like, even when I play it to this day, it sort of gives me like it's that pandemic lockdown, like that first one when you kind of realize we're not going to get out of this. But Pink Pony Club brings me back to that time. So like I still can't really play that song because it just brings me back to 2020. But I love the fact that Chappell is like getting so much attention now. And I feel like people are finally seeing like this big campy pop artist. And I'm loving that she's getting a lot of playtime. People are seeing her, they're going to her concerts, and I cannot wait till her second LP comes out.
Yeah. And another artist that's really blown up, especially on social media, has been Sabrina Carpenter.
Yeah, she's weird because my track record with her is like a little bit more newer. I first found out about her in 2022. She was like a Disney Channel artist. Like I wasn't paying attention, right? Wasn't paying attention to her. She's like very pretty, very cute. But I didn't start listening to her until 2022 when she came out with Emails I Couldn't Send or Can't Send. Was kind of unimpressed. She had a couple of hits, but I wasn't really that impressed. But this new LP that she's gearing up for, it's sounding pretty good. We have Espresso, which is one of the songs of the summer, right?
Mm-hmm. And then she just dropped another one too,
right? Please.
Yes.
Love.
Don't embarrass me, motherfucker.
Yeah, I mean,
me to you.
I know all the time at parties, and I'm sorry I disappoint you, Mama.
Well, better luck this summer.
Yeah, I mean, what's your experience with them?
Yeah, I mean, Chappell Roan, I had never heard of until you drugged me to her concert.
Yeah, so in 2022, maybe 2023, she had like she self-promoted a concert. Like she literally drove a U-Haul and had this like really intimate concert.
It was a really intimate concert, which is my preferred way to see an artist. Like the first time I saw Lady Gaga was in a bar of maybe 45 people.
Is it the one that she made out with you?
Yes. So very small bar when I saw her, and similar kind of vibe when we went to go see Chappell. And Chappell was, she is an incredible artist. She actually can sing, and she puts on quite a show. That's probably the extent of experience I have with Chappell, I've seen her blow up on TikTok lately. Yeah. Everyone's using the Good Luck Babe audio clip, and Naked in Manhattan, I think, is trending on TikTok as well.
2022.
But Sabrina Carpenter, similarly, if not for TikTok, I don't think that I would probably have heard her stuff. But I wanted to talk about like how much pop music feels like it's changing.
Yeah.
I guess for me, pop music has always been inherently pretty queer, right? Like all the big pop artists, they have strong like cult gay followings. And now these artists, they seem like they're made for the gay community.
Yeah. I like when I think about the, late 1990s, early 2000s, like Britney, like what was it about Britney that gravitated a lot of people and queer people specifically to her? Because it's not like she wasn't writing the lyrics. The songs were kind of just like, I'm a slave. Like, what does that mean? They're like very generic.
Very vague, ambiguous, which I think that era of pop in particular. So Britney Spears is like the artist that comes to my mind when you say like bimbo pop.
Yeah.
And maybe like Paris Hilton, even though I don't think she is a bimbo, but certainly the music she put out, like that Lindsay Lohan, sort of Christina Aguilera, they did a lot of that bimbo pop, but it was based heavily on just like the male gaze and selling this very sexual sort of female character to the public, which is weird because it's not like a lot of straight men were probably listening to Britney Spears. It was like teenage girls and gays.
Yeah, it goes to show like this was a person that was kind of created by straight men, right? Like these execs and music.
Yeah, that's what they thought would sell. And I think we've talked about in previous episodes where it seems like what really resonated with us was probably all the male backup dancers and the like fantasy of it.
It's the fantasy. She's selling the fantasy. It's like the confidence, right? Like it's the ability for Britney Spears to garner all this attention, like take the male gaze and throw it back at them. Like that's why I was so attracted. I wasn't physically attracted to her, but I was attracted to her.
You wanted to be her.
I wanted to be her.
You wanted to have the male backup dancers that she had, but for sure, harem of men.
Yeah. How do you think that image has kind of changed within like the last decade or so?
It's obviously very different. Like Lady Gaga was probably my big pop idol, and while there certainly was an element of the sex appeal part of it, I think she injected a lot of art, culture, and fashion into her stuff.
She made it art, right? Like she knew that there's a male gaze, so she literally wore a dress made out of meat because she was a piece of meat to the press. Yes. Like she was so smart, so ahead of the time. She knew how to sell, and like that's how you birth like Miley Cyrus, this like wacky sort of character. Like yes, 100%.
But what we're seeing with like these new artists, right? They don't really fit that conventional sort of look or narrative. I think it's very obviously more pro-feminist.
Yeah.
And I wanted to ask you like whether you think that is legitimate, or do you think it's just companies selling feminism because they know it's popular?
So I think that it's become profitable to be a feminist.
Yep.
Like I don't think that a pop star could have this big of an audience without saying something.
I think it's that you just can't do that sort of bimbo pop anymore without seeming out of touch.
Yes, right? Exactly. Like when Sabrina Carpenter does Please 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 and dresses up evocatively, like whatever, she's doing that, and she has to be able to say, I want to look like this.
Yeah.
Because that's the only way you can really dress up like that nowadays, is to say, I'm dressing like this for myself, which is totally true. I think that all these female artists totally believe it. Like I do think that they are feminist. I think that studios allow them to say this because it's profitable.
Yeah.
But I think that's okay.
Yeah. I mean, my take on it is that it doesn't really matter at the end of the day because it's still like net good, right? It's still positive progress from where we've been. But also like all of it is so much queerer than it ever was. Like I think about how odd it had to be, like if you went to a Lady Gaga concert in her like first couple of years and you were like a straight person, you were probably like very confused why there's like, you were kind of a minority.
All gay men, yeah.
And I imagine that that's even more true with some of these artists like Chappell, who I think is a self-described lesbian. Troye Sivan, really big pop star who's obviously very gay, and his stuff is rooted heavily in like queer culture, poppers and things of that nature. And Remy Wolf, who's another artist that you really like.
Love.
The whole dynamics of pop are changing, and it seems like it's very much more than ever for the girls and the gays.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that it's become a lot more democratic. It's we have TikTok. Anyone that has instruments and has a videotape or ability to record themselves and upload, like they can put out music, right? So you can be this really niche artist with only a few thousand gay followers and still be able to put out music because you're not dependent on record labels anymore. Yeah,
like in the old days, you had some old, likely white men executives at a studio pushing out whatever they thought like the people wanted to consume, and that's sort of like a self-fulfilling prophecy. Whereas now, a queer or independent artist can go make something, as you mentioned, put it on TikTok, it goes viral, and then that person's likely going to get a deal and be promoted because their stuff is helping push product and sell. So it's definitely being democratized.
TikTok was only possible because of LimeWire.
Yes. Oh my God. I think about LimeWire all the time. Like, how did we not go to jail for that?
My God, it's the original green music icon. Like, fuck Spotify. Like, free music. I mean, it would take forever to download. And, you know, like, sometimes you get corrupt files. But you know what? I love a little gamble.
Well, on that note, and because you mentioned lime green, we can't talk about democratizing music and the way that artists are sort of becoming known these days and creating and putting out their music without talking about bedroom pop and the queen of bedroom pop, Charli XCX.
So it was an earthquake when Brat was released last week.
Like, which is her newest album.
Brat, it's the entire rollout of this album is genius. Every gay person has been talking about this album. Every music site reviewer has been,
it's been getting good reviews.
It's like one of the highest rated albums period of within like the last 5 years. It's the highest rated album right now, like according to Metacritic. It's getting a lot of great buzz. It's selling very well, and it's very queer.
I always think about when these things blow up, if it's just like an echo chamber because of social media and the algorithms, that I'm like, is everyone aware of Brat, or is it just because I'm in the gay algorithm?
So I asked my nieces yesterday, I said, what do you guys think about Charli XCX? And they are 15, 11, and 7, and none of them knew who she was. I was like, Charli, she has like the song The 360s, and she's like, what? Not one of them knew. So it's a bit of an echo chamber.
I think it is a bit of an echo chamber when we say that, Charli's taking the world by storm. She's taking our little world by storm, but we're okay with that.
Whatever.
What was your first sort of experience with Charli? Like, when did you become aware of her?
2012. I love it.
Is that Icona Pop?
Yeah, Icona Pop. She was she wrote the song and was featured. It's like a Swedish duo, whatever. But I remember, like, I have the apartment in 2012. I was living in Isla Vista. I went to UC Santa Barbara, and I remember like on Saturdays gearing up to like day drink and party. That would be on my playlist. It was like everyone loved it. Like, it's like the song that you can put on to this day. Like, you put that song on, I'm going to take 3 shots right away.
I'm just laughing over here because it's making me think about how Charli always makes music about crashing cars.
Yeah. Well, luckily everyone lived within a half square mile in Isla Vista, but yeah.
So I mentioned bedroom pop, and for the Velmas, to describe what that is, this is music that comes about because artists end up just basically making it in their bedroom and putting it online.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Charli is notably, sort of famous for this. I think around like 2008 era, she was uploading her stuff to MySpace.
Which is insane because she was born in 1992.
Yeah, that's insane. Speaking of MySpace, it made me think about the top 5.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts on the top 5?
I remember it being like really, really stressful because I don't think I was anyone's top ever.
I was going to ask you how often you monitored the top 5 because I feel like for someone like a people pleaser, that had to be so stressful.
So girly, I was not very popular between the ages of like
then and now.
Yeah, exactly. Still to this day, I'm not popular, but even more so then. And like, I remember like, who the hell do I choose as my top? Like, because if they clicked on their profile, they would see that I wasn't their top.
Yeah. Did you have people on your top that you weren't theirs?
Yes, all the time. It was so embarrassing.
My poor baby boy.
But what was do you remember what your last profile picture of MySpace was?
I think it was like some heavily like sepia or black and white filtered photo of me in sunglasses.
I was wearing sunglasses and I was flipping off the camera and everyone's comment was, "Why is your finger so skinny?"
I bet you still think about that
all the time.
Day.
I'm always like, I have skinny fingers. Like I have Trump hands.
You were trying to work out.
Yeah, all the time. Like I need to go to a rock climbing gym and just like do pull-ups with my fingertips.
I think we should bring top 5 back because I'm very much about like letting people know where they're at and keeping them on blast, you know?
If people were to bring that back, it would cause drama. And I think that I would just start having like dogs as my profile as the number 1.
I also think we need it in the workplace. Like your boss's top 5.
Oh God, that would cause me so much anxiety.
But anyway, back to Charli. So Charli had released a lot of her music on MySpace. As you mentioned, the I Love It song, I think is one that a lot of people probably really became like aware of Charli. I think the next one for me was Fancy with Iggy Azalea.
Oh yeah.
Which cannot believe that was 2014. It's been a decade since Fancy came out.
Yeah. God, that's insane. R.I.P. Iggy Azalea.
Yeah, R.I.P. Iggy Azalea.
We'll never have like, I feel like that like was one of the uniting moments.
Yeah.
Fancy, Pokemon Go.
Well, we sort of briefly talked about this, but before we get into like the real contents of Charli's new album, Brat, I want to talk about the aesthetics of it. So can you describe the cover for it?
It's lime green and then with the words Brat, the type font is do you know what the type font is?
It's a very low resolution it's not a fancy
is it
script.
Times?
Yeah,
it's like Times New Roman lowercase Brat in the center.
It's like someone created it in their bedroom,
but it's genius. Like the color is instantly recognizable.
Do you think of me when you see it?
Brat? Yeah, I mean like finally you get validation, you get representation, right? You are a brat, you are a cunt. Like this is
and that's my color. I'm known for this color.
Yes, Mean Girl. There's a song called Mean Girl on there, right?
Which was probably about me.
Skinny, smoke cigarettes. Yes. Mm-hmm. Oh my God, Colby, this is brat, you're brat coded.
I didn't tell you that I actually have a really close relationship with Charli.
Well, you guys both have unibrows.
We talk shit about you all the time.
Stop. I would not be on her top, that's for sure.
I do think that the choices for the design of the album are really interesting, but I want to come back to that after we talk about the content. So what are you loving from the album? What tracks are resonating with you?
So my top 3 are Apple, Girl So Confusing, and 365.
Oh, wow. We have a lot of overlap. My first one is Apple. My second one is I Think About It All the Time.
Yeah,
and the third one is 365.
So tell me why you like Apple.
I really just like the beat of it.
Okay.
And I think the lyrics are one of the really smarter lyrics.
Yeah.
And I actually wanted to talk about that with you. I had read a lot of reviews about this album just to get a lot of varying perspectives about it. And a lot of people talked about the genius of the lyrics. And I have to say that while I think the album has a lot of great bops on it, the lyrics don't necessarily come across as genius to me.
So what I really, really love about this album, so it's very confident. It's very, it kind of takes the world of pop and deconstructs it, right? So we have lyrics that don't necessarily fit chorus, bridge, verse sort of structure that we have. She doesn't care about rhyming words. She's literally, it's like a diary. That's the way it's supposed to read.
I actually have that written down here that my take on this album is that she had taken pages from her diary and turned them into songs.
Right. I mean, that was the point. Like, she said, fuck chorus, fuck rhyming, fuck structure, and just said, I'm going to write songs of what I want. Mm-hmm. And so she created this album where it's about partying, right? It's the beginning.
Which is kind of Charli's like overarching personality, is this like underground rave party girl sort of aesthetic.
That's her origin. And again, I love Taylor Swift, but I fucking hate that every single person has like come to embrace or be a part of Taylor's type of music. So Taylor is doing eras and she's like changing up her style. And I fucking hate that great artists are changing up their sound because they feel like they have to. And I love that Charli said, no, I'm known for hyperpop. I'm going to keep hyperpop. Fuck eras. Like, I'm going to stick to what I'm good at. And that's how it should be. When I put on a Charli album, I want to do coke. Like, I don't want a sad bop crying in my room. Who broke up with me? Like, no. Leave it for Taylor.
What I will say about this album, compared to a lot of Charli's other music, but also just compared to a lot of pop music in general, is that when it comes to the lyrics, while I wouldn't necessarily describe them as genius, I think they seem very conversational in a very like open way. Like, one of the top songs that's in my list that I think about it all the time, that is one of the lyrics, but then it follows with that I might be out of time. Like, you just don't really see a lot of pop stars like sharing those sort of like thoughts.
Yeah.
And another one, she talks about her insecurities of another girl.
Lord. Girl, so confusing.
Is it about Lord?
Yeah. Yeah. So another one of our top songs is Girl, So Confusing. She's talking about another pop star, and it's Lord. She talks about it being a person that has the same hair. She talks about inviting her over and putting her hands up in the air, which is a reference to Taylor's Team song. And it makes sense because they both kind of blew up around the same time with Charli's first LP and Lord's Royal song. I love that we have like an artist that's kind of just like willing to be okay with talking shit about another person. I know it's not like a full-on hate track or anything, but she's talking about, what if this chick flopped? Like, would I feel better?
Yeah, I guess I didn't necessarily take away the same things from it. Like, I take away like her sort of talking about her own insecurities about like other women that she feels like she necessarily can't compare to, or feeling like she has to be compared to them because she's in the spotlight. Yeah. She's a similar artist. And so it's like, you have to be a feminist, but also you're being pitted against these other women and it's competitive.
Yeah.
And also, if you don't like each other, don't support each other, like, then people get mad about that.
Right.
So I sort of took that perspective from her. I don't think she's actually like dissing someone. I think she's just more complaining about like the realities of the position that she's in.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very complicated song. I agree. It's not like a diss track or anything, but I do love how open she is about it, right? Like, that she's willing to even say this and put it on a track. Like, it's so like hearing a pop star talk about this it's so fun. It's confident. It feels confident.
What you tend to get from a lot of, pop stars is just like, I'm hot, I'm crushing it, sort of aesthetic. And we're seeing this artist that she definitely has some of that in this album, the like confidence aspect, but it sort of ebbs and flows with her insecurities and her fears.
Wanting to have kids, right?
Yeah, like, doubts about kids and all those sort of things that just gives you a little bit more behind the scenes into Charli as a person. And
another great thing about Charli is that she's able to look inward without having a slow song. Artists think that if they talk about their insecurities or how they're feeling, like if they're feeling sad, they have to have this sort of piano ballad or acoustic sound. Like, every single song on here is like,
could be a club song.
I
think Apple's kind of like that too.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, she's talking about
her bad
souring relationship, but it's still one of the clubbiest tracks on the entire album.
Yeah.
And something that especially if you have a queer audience, like something like soured relationship with your parents is something super relatable. And
right. Getting in a fight with them, wanting to drive back to the airport and leave home. Like and it's still like this banging beat.
Yeah, for sure. I want to talk about 360 and I want to talk about 365.
So one of the ways artists can really impress me is by having like this, a part 2 of a song. When I think of like a really good album that, funny enough, Lord's Melodrama is also about it. The entire concept of an album is a party. This is also about a concept of a party of an album. But I love Lord. She does like a sober part 2, melodrama part 2 within that album. And Charli does this beautiful thing where the opening track and the last track are the same beat, but entirely different songs. And it gave me a heart on the first time I heard it. I love it. Like, it's such a great opening and closing. Like it shows to me she thought of this more than just a collection of songs and wanted a purpose. Like, this is a statement that I'm making.
So can I tell you what the whole album is like for me?
Is it just going bah, 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 wah, wah?
No, the album for me is when you're out at a club at 4 a.m. and you're starting to experience that come down. And there's all the like synthesized beats and electronics, but you're starting to have those thoughts creep in. That is what this album is like for me. Like, she's talking about, someone being on like, near her that she doesn't want to force a smile and doesn't want to have to be next to them. And then she's talking about, like sour relationships or like people that makes her feel insecure, that she feels like she can never be as good as them. Just all of that sort of seeping in. That is like those kind of thoughts to me.
It's at these parties, like you have these feelings of really high up and then you really lows, right? The insecurities. And it's such a great album because it mimics that feeling. Even the beats, right, of 360 and 365, it sounds like sometimes you're in a room of a club and you can hear the beat vibrating through the wall. I mean, that's what it sounds like.
Well, I was going to say 365 for me is what 360 would sound like if you were on substances. It's what your brain is distorting to that song.
And also, you talked about lyrics not being genius. Girl, she says, should we do a little key? Should we have a little line? Oh my God. Like, song of the century. Oh my God. I'm going to tattoo that on my tits.
Maybe you should get on your ass cheek.
Yeah. Oh, on my penis.
It's not long enough. It's all foreskin, girl.
Exactly. Well, I'll roll it back, roll it forward. I'll find room, girl.
It's like, someone's like, why are there scribbled lines in your dick?
And then no, you have to undo it. And that's how you go upside down. Yeah.
I do like 365 though. I think it is one of the best songs on the album. And I think it's a strong way to like end the album.
Yeah. It's aggressive. I mean, it takes a lot of turns, especially towards the end with the production. It gets that really intense kind of feeling, like, the party overwhelmingness, and then it kind of subdues. Oh, it's so good. And 360, she's able to, I mean, I really like the feeling of pop music. 360 just kind of embodies that, right? It's like pure bliss pop. It's so catchy, and she references like the it girl of what seems like New York, which is Julia Fox.
Have you watched the music video?
Yeah. Iconic, right? Every single it girl, gay, like queer sort of coded.
Very queer coded. I mean, we were talking about the, how pop is becoming more pro-feminist and pro-queer. And this music video is just like the culmination of all of that. Yeah. It's got Blizzy McGuire.
Yeah, I was going to say Blizzy is there.
Richie Shazam.
Julia Fox, of course.
Chloe Sevigny.
Rachel Sennett.
Yeah, there's just like so many like queer, trans, non-binary, cool girls in it, trendsetters in it. And I really love when I see celebrities like, sort of hype up other people like that.
Yeah, bring in these like people from definitely different areas of the
and it shows culture too, right?
Exactly.
It's not just like here's some other like hot people. It's like these are tastemakers and influencers.
Very intentional of who she brought in, right? It's every single one of these influencers brought something and did it well.
Yeah, and they're all big on their own.
Exactly.
Like without a Charli music video.
Right. No, I loved it. So why do you think this is resonating with gays so much?
I thought a lot about this, actually. So I think this brings me back to like 2016. And I think it takes me back to 2016 because it's like kind of this era where a lot of us joke and say we sort of last felt happy, which was like pre the first Trump presidency. And I think you could feel this sort of sense of impending doom. We just like didn't want to feel it. So many things happened in 2016. We had like conflict and war in Syria. Harambe died in the Cincinnati Zoo. Yeah, R.I.P. Harambe. There was the Zika virus. Of course, the politics in this country were just spiraling out of control, and we had Trump versus Hillary, and that was like a shit show. And we had super serious, awful things like the Pulse nightclub shooting that happened.
Yeah, my gosh.
Like 2016 was just such a bad year, and at the same time, there was a lot of really big, notable pop songs dropping. We had Rihanna's Anti-album that came out. We had Drake's One Dance. We had Beyonce drop the Lemonade album. Yeah. There was a lot happening, but people just kind of wanted to vibe their way through it and like sort of just have rose-tinted glasses and forget what was going on in the world. And similarly, right now, a lot of these same horrible things are happening. We're looking at, you know, we might have another Trump presidency on us. So I think all of us just feel hopeless in a way. Like it feels like, what can I as one person do in the context of all of these things? So I think that's where an album like this just fits so perfectly, because it's like, we're just going to fucking vibe and dance and have a good time because we can't do anything about the shit show that's happening. Yeah,
I agree. When I listened to this album, like, I think that this was resonating with me, and I think broader with with gay and queer people, because it tells you that partying isn't only like something we do on the weekends. Like, it is a way of coping. It's like a valid form of expression.
It's therapy.
It's therapy, right? You get rid of your lonely, sad life and you party as a way of coping, of going forward in life.
And I don't know if a lot of people realize this, but it's also like a way of forming community as well.
Yeah, I mean, this is like, it came out during June in the middle of Pride Month, like for a reason, right? Not only is her audience queer, but this is a very queer album, and it's very like pro-pride. Like, this is pride as a protest. Like, it's very geared in that. I love this album, and I think it's probably gonna be I think it's gonna be the album of the year.
I do think, you know, we've had these last few themed summers of Hot Girl Summer, Feral Girl Summer, Rat Girl Summer. This year's definitely going to be Brat Summer.
Oh my God. And I am already thinking of like how often this album is gonna play in P-Town in a couple weeks. I am gearing up for it.
How many Brat tank tops do you think we're going to see?
Oh my God. Honestly, I don't know if it's going to be tacky or I'm going to be okay with it. When we get there, we'll see what the vibe is.
It's funny to me because I talked about a few episodes ago that I was struggling to figure out like what the color of summer was going to be.
Oh, you think?
And, you know, this lime green for me was my color like 2 or 3 seasons ago. And I was like, oh, I can't do that again. And now we know this is why we couldn't figure it out. Charli answered it for us.
Are you going to be wearing lime?
I think I'm going to have to. I think it's so Brat Girl Summer coated.
And it looks so good on your skin.
With my spray tan.
Is this? Oh, yes. Yeah, I forgot you got one for...
Girl, you know I'm not this tan.
Yeah. No, you look amazing. I think you should definitely bring it.
Yeah, I definitely think that the lime green is going to be really, really big this summer, and we're definitely going to see a lot of it in P-Town. But speaking of Brat Summer, for me, the aesthetics of the album, right? It's so Y2K. It's so like kind of effortless. Like, she didn't really try. And I think that's really like what Brat Summer will be like. So what do you think are like some hallmarks of Brat Summer?
I think the hallmarks are doing coke off of penises.
Okay.
Being an Oompa Loompa for Austin Wolf.
So weird that you mentioned that, because...
Was he there?
No, at the Glam Clocks party, all the people that were running the event, they were dressed as Willy Wonka or Oompa Loompas.
Oh, spooky. Can you imagine tripping out and seeing that?
Yeah, so you're very on the nose, but continue.
And then the last one, becoming a DJ. I think, and just throwing...
this is on my bucket list.
And I feel like yours would be so bad. And then you would blame it on them, being like, why aren't you dancing? One of your speakers doesn't work. That's why.
I think like what the Brat album and Brat Girl Summer represent, right? Like in this chaotic world that we're in right now, where again, you feel so hopeless, you feel like you can't do a lot. It's all about like, you're getting what you get at this point. You know what I mean?
Yes. After listening to this album, like I kid you not, I became more confident. I love talking to people. I love making friends. I know that's like what separates us. Like what you're like, fuck people. Like I want to be more exclusive. I love talking to people, but I'm always afraid to talk to people because I'm kind of weird. But I'm just like, no, I'm going to be more confident. I am weird. I want to be more confident. When people talk to me, I'm not going to stutter. I'm going to speak my mind. I'm not going to be afraid if they think I'm weird. Like,
how many times have you written this on Post-it notes or your bathroom mirror?
For the last 17 years of my life, probably. But this is the year that's different. That's what Brat Summer means to me.
Okay. Well, maybe those are some good goals for us to have for the summer together.
Yes. All right. Well, see you guys all next week.
See you next week.
All right. Bye.
Hey, it's Colby and Alex here. Thank you for listening to No Notes.
If you enjoyed the show, don't forget to follow us wherever you get your podcasts and share with your friends.
You can also follow us on Instagram at NoNotesPod, one word, where you'll find updates on new episodes and see more into our lives and the stories that we share with you on this show.
Your support means the world to us. Until next time, keep it real and keep it queer.